This video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the animated series relevant to what has already occurred on the Netflix show.
I am Max.
I'm Bill, also known as Matt Stagger, and welcome to WtA Adaptation. We take things from one medium, check them out in another medium, and see how they compare. Joining us yet again is Thom from Dragonmount. Thank you for being here with us, Thom.
I have a new friend.
Oh,
He's very cuddly.
Guy Bison.
Yeah. He's very cuddly. He's actually weighted too. He's like, I don't know if you can.
Nice.
He's heavy.
Nice.
Oh, Reverse. What's up, Reverse?
Hey, Reverse BLT. Good to see you.
That was a good scene when he was like, Guy Bison. I like that.
Yeah, that was cute. We are talking Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix. That other abomination does not exist. Anyway, we're actually doing episodes 7 and 8 since we sort of missed last week due to my miscommunication skills and other real life issues that crept in.
What? Real life happens? I don't believe you.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it either, but it just keeps creeping back in. I'm like, I can't just hang out online all day, and that's my life.
Right? That'd be nice.
I feel so disappointed. What were your overall thoughts of episode 7, The North?
I really like the last two episodes were the ones that I liked the most, I think. The combat is great again, like just visually it's very pleasing, it's very beautiful. The city is awesome. I liked the actor that they got for WtA. That was really cool. Yeah, I mean, look at it. It looks awesome.
Amber Midthunder.
Yeah. She was great. I liked the changes that they did with her, like just changes to her character. They made her more like sure of herself and more kind of like relaxed. I think it's mainly because they aged her up, like obviously, like
she seemed regal, but at the same time a little more humble.
Yeah. She's older. She seemed older. She's more wizened.
Yeah.
She's wizened.
Well, I mean, did you see her hair? She's wizened.
Oh yeah.
All us gray haired people.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting for my beard to fully go gray. It's got a little bit in there.
I'm getting there. I am getting there quicker than I ever thought I would.
I'm excited. I want it to be gray.
Yeah, the kids will do that to you.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Especially when they start driving.
Okay.
I can't get mine to drive. My kids don't want to drive. It's the weirdest thing. I just don't.
Mine can't. They don't have opposable thumbs.
Good point.
Give them time.
Oh God.
Now I'm imagining your cat driving, and frankly, it's Toonces. Yeah, I enjoyed episode 7. I did feel the whole Sokka thing was a little rushed with her. Then again, it kind of is in the animated series too.
Yeah,
it's a pretty quick thing. So
yeah, at least in this one they played it out a little bit with the whole fox thing, with her.
Yeah,
and so they made them kind of having met each other a little bit prior to that, but
giving them some pre-existing knowledge of each other at least.
Yeah. They, like there's elements of like conflict between characters. They like definitely like downplayed and just completely bypassed, like with Sokka and the I can't even think what the other guy's name was. There's a whole thing about them arguing over the armor the guys had.
Yeah,
and they just completely they like completely bypass that, and like he talked about how they have this new armor and they're arguing over it in the cartoon, and like this is like, oh, thanks for the intel. It's like that was completely different.
The thing that I one of the things that I liked about this episode specifically was the whole relationship between Sokka, what was his name? He
Han.
was Han, Han and WtA. I think the reason why they did that is because 100%. They like a lot of the arguing between Han and Sokka was because Han was and WtA were kind of pledged to marry each other. Where in this one, since this is supposed to be them aged up, she's not, she's however old, she's probably like, 17, 18, 19, 20, somewhere in between there. They talk about, when she was 16, she decided not to marry him. So, that's not a thing anymore. So where in the cartoon, Sokka had like that jealousy with him there. So it kind of colored their whole relationship, all of their interactions in the cartoon. So
but that also played into the whole, the other plot line with the waterbenders, the duality of that.
Yeah.
Because the old guy had his plot line and with, what was it, her grandmother.
Yeah.
And they completely erased that.
Did they?
I believe they completely erased that plot line.
They didn't bring it up at all? Okay.
No, they didn't.
Because in cartoon, the whole thing was like that necklace like brought him out of his, arrogance about girls and fighting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in the vein of he didn't need kind of a familiarity with Katara to make him see her not just as a woman first is kind of, I mean, in my opinion, it's better, but it doesn't mean that they've taken that out completely. I guess they could still, beginning of next season, still have that plot line in it. But to be honest, like it didn't really do much because,
I'm like, it doesn't really add much. To like the overall story.
Yeah.
It's not like they get together or anything,
Yeah. It's just one of those things of it changed how their dynamic played and like why his motivation was what it was.
Yeah, no,
like,
for sure.
For sure. Because the show is just they're sexist, but in the cartoon it was more than just that, it felt. Because like
I don't even think it was even seen as sexist by him. It was more tradition.
Yeah.
And
it was a sexist tradition.
Yeah.
It was
hurt by the grandmother leaving, and it's kind of more what it was than tradition for him, it felt. If that's kind of how it felt to me.
Well, but it was, we're talking about the idea of in the Northern Water Tribe, women were not allowed to fight.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with Paku or his relationship with anyone.
Yeah.
That was just their that's their society.
Yeah,
it's funny
that
they
tradition.
Yeah. It's funny though that that it didn't carry over to the Southern Water Tribe at all. Like
I think it shows that what the Fire Nation has done by cutting off each kingdom and sort of communication. You're going to see growth in one that you won't see in another. And I kind of like that.
Me too. Yeah, for sure. Showing the differences between them is definitely was definitely better. I mean, we never even really see much of any. We never see any other Southern Water Tribe except for the group that they run into out in the world that has their dad and the other warriors. But like, there's no other cities or anything.
Yeah, I agree. It was a breakout sort of episode for Katara. And for Sokka. I think I really enjoyed seeing Sokka realize that he has worth beyond how much ass he can kick,
Yeah.
He's like, oh, wait, just having this information can make me valuable and sort of worthy in other people's eyes as well, which I think goes towards the whole engineer thing that he sort of touched on a little bit. And I'm hoping they kind of, go into that more. I'd like it.
The only part I'd say about that is like they didn't really go into his kind of like that whole I don't know how to explain it, like where they kept in the cartoon they kept pushing him down for being a fighter, like where he kept trying to bring up all like the armor stuff and all that in the cartoon. They kept pushing him back. I don't think we got as much of that in the show as we did in the cartoon.
No, we didn't. They were actually appreciative of his stuff, which sort of reaffirmed that, hey, there is life beyond being a warrior, which I like.
I think it all comes to just them being older and just being able to have viewed things differently. Like the idea of like a lot of the reason why they have the conflicts that they have is just because they don't have the experience of knowing better. And they do show you time and time again throughout the live action what it means for them to have been older and how it changes them. So like we get a more end stage version of those characters. So like, Han as a 16-year-old would like two 16-year-old boys that are meant to be warriors from different tribes, both kind of expressing interest for the same girl, are probably going to go and headbutt each other a bunch. Like that's just going to happen. But when you have 20 somethings that, have seen things and like are getting ready to they understand the implications of stuff, they view themselves as less immortal. Like they know that they're more humble and things like that when they get older. It's not even just boys, like young people in general don't really understand the implications of things and can really see the consequences of stuff. So it's being able to not necessarily that I like these versions. Like I much prefer the cartoon younger versions. It's just I like seeing the growth happen than it just being already them having gone through it. But that is, they did it well. I think that's how, a 20-year-old Sokka would react to things, and how, a 20-year-old Katara would react to things. So I think they did it well in that sense.
I think you're right. Reverse BLT, by the way. I don't think Sokka was emasculated at all. He's just a more mature version of the character. He's not nearly as hung up in his teenage angst.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think he's emasculated at all.
Yeah, I don't know why people would think that, but it is a common sort of thing you'll hear. A lot of fans, they're angry that the sort of sexist Sokka wasn't in the series, and I'm like, he shouldn't be. Not with this character being that age. It doesn't make sense.
Because he's not really sexist in the cartoon. Like he's a child. He's ignorant to things, and then he learns. Like, are the things that he does sexist? Yes, but he himself just doesn't know better. He's been for years the only male in a village, like the second. I think he might even be the second oldest person in his village in the cartoon. Like it's his grandmother. Oh no, there's other older women there. There's other older women there. I forgot.
The oldest boy.
Yeah, he's definitely the oldest male there. So and he really took the idea of like, because again, he's a child. So like when his dad was like, you're the last line of defense. I'm leaving you here because I trust you to watch over everybody. That's what you tell to a kid when you're going away and maybe never coming back. And like, you have to leave them behind because they're a child and you can't bring a child into a war like that. But he took that kind of seriously. And then when he kind of learns the truth and grows, he changes his view on things, which is cool to see. And it's a very important lesson for children to learn. That's why I really enjoyed it in the cartoon. But having a 20-something-year-old go through that same thing would be more like a character flaw in him than it was just like, he's a child and, he hasn't learned yet.
Yeah, I like the fact they're leaning more into his whole sort of breaking his norm idea of worth being a warrior. Is slowly morphing, and he's starting to understand he has more to offer the world. And I think him learning that throughout the season is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I rather enjoy that aspect of it.
Me too. And he gains it mostly from leaving his village and being able to go to other places. So it's a great it's still another great kind of lesson to teach the audience or expose the audience to, in the fact that, like, his outside the box thinking and non-traditional views on accomplishing tasks, whether it's in combat or just planning how to navigate through the next forest that they have to fly over or whatever, expands into him being like a thinker. Whether it's an engineer, a scientist, whatever you want to call it. Like he can apply that to a lot of things.
STEM skills, people. STEM skills.
I'd say it just shows that it kind of falls into his future plot lines.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well,
I really hope they kind of expand on it a little bit too and play with it.
They played with it a little in the final episode when the dirigible comes in, she's like, well, how do you know? And he's like, because I helped design it. And you're like, oh, Okay, so there was stuff that happened off screen with the mechanist at.
Well, I think
Yeah.
you kind of saw parts of it on screen, but yeah.
Yeah. He should.
He showed the
Yeah.
valve. I think he talks about the
but
valve
they don't
and
actually
shit.
build it or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how they do that. The only apprehensive bit that I have about if they do another season is the fact that the original showrunners won't be involved. Like they did leave the show like this season 1 partway through filming it, but their credits are on every episode, and they obviously had some involvement with at least most of the episodes in the season. So I'm a little apprehensive to see where it goes without them. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, for me, a deal breaker for season 2 is how they handle Toph.
Absolutely. Excuse me, sir. That is the Melon Lord.
I'm sorry, the Melon Lord.
You're welcome.
How they handle that is going to go a long way towards whether I'm still around at the end of season 2 or not to watch it. Because and I mean at this point they got to go with an unknown, so far as I know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you've ever seen the YouTube video that a young lady did. It's pretty amazing. She's dressed as Toph. She's got the contacts in, the eyes, but she actually does martial arts. There's a whole stunt scene she does of bending, and it is really well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's from like 8 years ago, and I'm like, I wish they were doing the show then because she would have been perfect.
She's probably too old now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, but you got to go with an unknown. So I'll be interested to sort of keep my eye on casting. Season 2 is greenlit.
Yes, 2 and 3 supposedly.
Okay, so they're getting 3 as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
And they're only gonna, and that's it. Like they're doing seasons 2 and 3, and then they've already announced that will be the end of the series.
So they're going to do the books 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I guess
smashed together.
Yeah,
I'm very excited as well.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if they do Korra.
I don't know. I if they don't have the rights already, they won't get them. That's for sure.
Well, that's true. Now that you mention it, the falling out with the creators sort of put a kibosh on that. So.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
Yeah. I mean, like usually when rights change hands like this, they're very, very specific for things. So we'll see, like, if they have rights for anything outside of the main sequence series. It all just depends on what they have rights to do stuff in.
Yeah, and that can be a mess, as we Wheel of Time fans know, and FU, Red Eagle Entertainment, or whatever you're called now.
I mean, even looking at like the Rings of Power, where like they're only allowed to write things that appeared in they cannot write anything that appeared in Peter Jackson's movies. So they can't reference the movies or anything like that, or anything from the movies. They can't write anything from the Silmarillion as a whole. It can only be like Appendix A and Part 1 of Appendix B and The Hobbit, and that's it.
Yep. And trying to explain that to people is interesting.
Yeah. So like, if maybe they still have rights to do Avatar: The Last Airbender content, but they can't use Korra, they can't use any of the graphic novels, so like they could do something completely new. But I don't think Netflix is so fickle when it comes to TV shows. I don't think they would allow a show creator to do something that wouldn't have a guaranteed paycheck at the end of it.
Yeah, that's a very valid point, especially with Netflix. I mean, as we know, like shows like Warrior Nun that are really good and enjoyable, and fans love them. Which, if I'm not mistaken, the director of episode 8 actually directed a couple episodes of Warrior Nun as well.
Really? It was like his name is Jet too, which was funny. I forgot what his last name was, or her name.
It's Wilkinson.
Yeah.
It's a her.
Okay, yeah, but her first name is Jet.
Yeah, she's Australian.
Okay, I thought that was funny though, because Jet.
Yeah, I also wondered in the back of my mind. I'm like, wait, how old is she? And I'm trying to line up the dates to see if the show came out before she was born. But no, she was born before it.
the one thing that I really liked that they did in the live action was the way Zuko and Iroh's kind of plan played out on screen, just the sequence of events, and then when they part ways and they have their moment in that little like bay of the ship where they drop the boat out of, that was an awesome scene. Like that scene like made me tear up a little bit. Like that was a really good scene. I thought they did it much better in the live action. Not better, but it was just more impactful in the live action than it was in the animated series. The line where it was like, Iroh got choked up saying like, I've always thought of you as a son. And he gets choked up halfway through that, but Zuko just says, I know, and then they hug. And that was like a beautiful scene where it's a little less personal in that way in the cartoon. It's and it's less emotional. I really, really love the way they did it in the live action.
I do too. That moment when Zuko turns to him and just says, "Your son would have been proud to call you."
Oh
father.
God, yeah. I was
it's just as a parent myself, it sort of reached in and gripped all the, feelings I shovel down and try not to feel, and I'm like, I hate you for this.
Yeah.
As that single tear rolls down my face, I'm like, I hate you, but I love
making me feel my feelings. They did a great job, and the only thing that I miss out of that is his adventure traversing in. We didn't get to see all the like animals that he saw in the cartoon, and that's just because the animals are fun. Like I think he swims by like 3 or 4 different hybrid whatever's. There's definitely turtle like seals at some point, which I miss seeing.
Maybe we'll get him in season 2.
We
tear bending. I like that reverse PLT. Tear bending.
Definitely tear bending.
Right. Speaking of that reminds me of this scene.
Oh
yeah, that was a beautiful scene. That was really good.
I love that she froze his feet, giving him no option.
Yeah, that was another nice little addition that they did.
And I'm like, that way, he doesn't obsess over it. Why didn't I do something? Bitch, you couldn't.
Exactly.
That's why.
Exactly. Iroh showing up was just as good in the live action as it was in the
Oh, dude, him taking out Zhao was worth everything.
Mm-hmm. I don't like. I preferred Zhao's ending in the cartoon over the live action. Like he gets the ocean spirit kind of like is like, oh, that's Zhao, and grabs him and pulls him into the water and pretty much kills him in front of Zuko.
Yeah, drowns him.
Yeah, Zuko has a moment where he's going to save him, but then is like, you know what, you deserve this, and stops and doesn't save him in the cartoon, where that obviously didn't happen in the live action.
I do actually kind of like the way they ended it in the live action. I love the animated version as well, but I think this is more fitting given the sort of subplot line we've had of them being pitted against each other the whole time. I needed that fight, and I needed Zuko to have the opportunity to kill him, but not do it. That just shows, he's beginning to feel empathy and things, and he absolutely crushes Zuko's heart. So
yeah, the fact that he needed to spell that out for him, I thought was a little, I don't know. Like, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess spelling it out for him was necessary because obviously he didn't believe the Avatar was there, and then seeing him kind of allowed him almost to lie to himself about it, whether or not he believed it or not. But
I've seen people that delusional in real life about abusive relationships and stuff. And
of course,
I'm like,
whether he was like ignorant enough to not think that it was a fool's errand, or it was just him lying to himself, and someone finally pointing it out, verbally, is what made him come to terms with it. But
yeah, I think he's broken at the end of this first season, and
this is the first crack in his like in the journey that we see him go through in the cartoon, and it's the same in the cartoon as well. Like this is the first step in his journey, in his redemption arc happens in this episode.
Good point, Reverse.
Oh, and all of the Azula stuff was great. I love bringing her in this early. I love because it really sets up for the next season. Also showing her relationship with her father and how he also abuses her, you know, mentally and physically too, I would say too, because he like forcing her to fight these criminals. Like that's definitely abusive. But you know, the mental abuse that she goes through with him, showing that on camera where you don't really get to see it often, if at all, until like the very last season in the animated series.
Right, that's when you get to see his face finally. So until then, he's just a shadowy, scary figure.
Yeah, we barely even get to hear him speak. Her friends, Mai and Ty Lee, also kind of like trying to be like, you know, your dad knows that you're good like this. He's just, you know, trying to push you and trying to, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, they're kind of, they try to be really good friends to her, and they understand. It's almost like they understand the reason why she is the way she is, and they don't let it, they kind of let it roll off their shoulders when she's bad to them, until like, you know, it gets to a point where they can't take it anymore and there's other things at stake. But in the animated series, at least, but you can see, and you see it here in the live action when they're trying to, you know, make her feel better in the moment.
Yeah. And I love the fact that she finally hits a point where she's like, no, I'm just not doing this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
I forgot about the one tearjerker scene for you, Matt.
Oh no, dude! Yeah, I was almost out. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I watched this, I'm like, if Momo dies, I am done. Yeah. I am done, and I'm walking away.
Would have boycotted the show immediately.
Yeah, I'd be done. But my heart still skipped a beat, even this time, knowing that Momo was going to be okay. Just seeing Momo sort of take one for the team was so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was good to include them. Like I liked that they included them in the in what was going on
in one episode.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we only got, I guess, you know, CG. The CG for them is expensive, I guess.
Just put a cat in an outfit. We'll accept it.
Just put a cat in an outfit.
I would totally accept.
You ever try putting anything on a cat, Max?
Yes, I have.
It doesn't work well.
Yeah, they just step out of it.
Oh, God. Or they just become dead weight unless you train them.
Glenn, why would you ask that, Glenn?
Oh, Noman Garden's right. If they got rid of Momo now, we wouldn't be able to get the Yojimbo scene later when Samurai Appa and Ronin freaking Momo battle each other. Only nitpick is that there would have been nice to have a little bit more bonding with Sokka and Momo before that scene. Yeah, I guess. I mean,
more food stealing.
You kind of assume it happened off camera, I guess, because, you know, they've been traveling together.
Well, I mean, yeah. And his sense of humor when he thinks Momo's okay. Or it's like, oh, look, you finally did something useful. And then he realizes Momo is not moving and is under the rock. He flips out. And I love that moment. Wow. Okay, chat going at it tonight. You get him reverse.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's like unicorn's blood. You will live a half-life. That's all you get, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't get to eat the flying lemurs. Though, you know, just like in Pokemon, there's no other animals. So, like, they have to eat the weird animals.
I'm picturing Ash sitting by the fire frying up a Pokemon while staring at Pikachu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just doing what we got to do, man.
I would assume some of the Pokemon are carnivores too, like Charizard.
Yeah, I don't see him eating leaves.
No.
That's a good point.
Not with canines like that.
My wife completely upset my son by telling him that Pokemon is basically a slave ring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
it
a
broke his heart.
Yeah.
It broke his heart. and it made me, sort of chuckle to myself. He's like, not really. But at first he was like, no,
Wait a minute.
no. And then he started thinking about it. He goes, oh my God, you're right.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The way they did also the way they did Kaiju Ang was
Oh
really cool.
man, I love that elemental spirit, the just pure rage.
Yeah, the ocean spirit. So a lot, and this is I know I think we've talked about it before, or maybe it was just reverse BLT and I, when we talk about how Aang doesn't go out of his way to try to kill people.
Yeah, we have.
The thing that I would push back against on this scene, because obviously many Fire Nation soldiers die in this scene. Like, there's no way you could throw boats around like that and people aren't dying.
They're fine. They're sleeping.
Yeah. But the only argument I would have is that's not Aang. Like Aang,
exactly.
They
Aang make a point that Aang is no longer there. Yeah.
Aang offers his body and his spirit to the ocean spirit to go
and is so badass.
Yes, that was a sick freaking scene, man. I loved it. That was just as good as it was in the cartoon. Like, very powerful scene. Yeah,
and
the way he
voice. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
The way they comboed all the Avatar voices was nice.
So good. Visually, the show is beautiful. Like, they do it. It's so many good ways. I don't think he technically, like, I would have equated to his avatar or give it to his avatar rage. I would give it all to the ocean spirit. Like, that was the Aang going into that pool and literally offering himself to the ocean spirit to go and do what it had to do. It less than it was, Aang being angry and going avatar, and then it all happening in one thing.
Yeah, Yui even goes out of her way to say there is no Aang anymore. It is just pure vengeance and seeking out its partner that it'll never find.
Yeah,
because some dumbass stabbed him. Which I hate that scene, but I love that scene because it's painful, and you're like, this shouldn't be painful, but it is.
Oh yeah, the battle in the dark in that. I liked the way they did visually. They did the moon dying and the light going out. I liked the way they did that. That was really cool.
Yeah, they went into that sepia tone where it was very, monochrome silver and no light, but it's weird. I love
really
that.
Cool. Looks really, really cool. That's good, Gnome Garden. The ocean doesn't kill you; it just lets you die from your own stupidity and arrogance. Yes.
Yeah.
As someone who grew up in a beach town, I can totally agree with that.
As someone who still lives in a beach town, I 100% can agree with you. First thing you teach your kids, how to get out of a riptide.
I was about to say, you don't really live on the beach. You live on the Gulf side. No, but you live on the ocean side.
Yeah. No. I'm on the Space Coast. So.
Yeah. So obviously we live in Florida. So he lives on the Atlantic Ocean side, and I currently live on the Gulf side. And everyone's like, "Oh, let's go to the beach." I'm like, I hate swimming in the Gulf. It's gross. First of all, there's no waves. Second of all, it's like 100 degrees. It's like a bathtub.
Yeah, it's like swimming in soup.
Yeah, I much prefer going into the Atlantic, but obviously that's far away now. But the idea, I think they did the ocean and water spirit well. I think they did the scenes of him going into the spirit world well. Again, like, look at that. The combat was so cool. Like, very, very well done.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful production design, I gotta say.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%.
I'm curious.
I don't think there was anything that stuck out in the series and made me go, I don't like that.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of the I'll say some of the set ready for next season.
Oh yeah, okay.
Props and otherwise.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm wondering, I'm gonna look it up. I wonder what the budget was on on this? 120 million.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Mm.
I think they spent that well then, because I expected more, honestly.
Which is apparently like they compared it to the like other heavily CG shows that came out that year, and it was similar budgets, except for Wheel of Time, which only got 70 million.
I will say I don't think a lot of that budget went to makeup, but that's me.
Oh my god, yeah. There
skullet,
are some,
man. I love the skullet just because it's there.
There are some pretty bad like practical effects in this first season.
I'm not a fan of Boomy's makeup.
Boomy was terrible. Boomy was just out and out bad. Like it was just bad makeup.
A lot of when they did old people, it kind of reminds me of like a child doing old people's makeup, but they never seen an old person.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, that skullet is a thing of beauty. I mean, I don't care what people say. That is a thing of beauty. If I'm ever going bald, I am so doing that.
And I had to look up that actor. His name, I guess, is A. Martinez.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the letter A.
Yeah.
The guy that was Paku? The guy that played Paku?
Because his accent was just kind of like, it felt like someone faking just an accent to me. It just did not come off right. It was.
He's been in a ton of things. He's played Native Americans. He's played like every type of South American that you could be. He's been Brazilian, Cuban, Colombian. Like he's been everything. That guy's been in so many movies. He always plays a villain though. I mean, like Paku isn't technically a villain, but he's not a likable character for a while.
He is in opposition to one of our main characters, so I wouldn't put him as a villain, but he is opposition.
Yeah. Good actor. Yeah. He's been in so many things.
I'm looking at it as a Curse of Chucky, Farhaven, The Cowboys.
He's been in so many things. He usually plays like a henchman, I feel like.
Is that The Cowboys with John Wayne?
Let me check.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Came out in the 60s.
Yeah, it is.
70s. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
That would have been near the end of John Wayne's career. Yeah, the Cowboys.
Apparently he was in Cowboy Bebop. The live action?
No.
The live action? That sounds correct.
Honestly, I never watched it. I watched the anime and I enjoyed it.
I heard the live action was very good. Very well done.
I have heard the opposite.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Which is why I haven't watched it. Yeah. So yeah.
I've never watched it. But the last two episodes here, I think were in my like for me personally, like when I watched it through the first time, and I was very like, I don't want to say anti-liking this show, but I definitely wasn't as happy with it as I was when I went back and watched it a second time and a third time. But the last two episodes I enjoyed the most out of all of them the first time I watched it through. I was like, okay, this feels more like Avatar.
Agreed. Especially episode 8 for me. I really got the same sort of vibe and lessons.
Sorry, I had to throw a Boomy in there.
That makeup is just, I mean
they did. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You ever watch Face Off?
Yeah, I loved Face Off.
I loved Face Off. The series about special effects artists that was on Sci-Fi Channel.
So
but that's
good.
That looks like some of the early first time old age makeups from some of those guys. And I'm like, I know you can do better. I've seen you do better. Why?
The things I really liked in that show is when they would give them weird things that they had to like compensate for. Like, okay, we want you to make a monster, blah, 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 but it has to be able to go underwater for 3 minutes. Like it has to survive underwater for 3 minutes. Like I liked when they gave them stuff like that. Anyway, that scene that you had up of Boomy was from The Hook for the next season, which I like that they do too. So like it's a change-ish from, because I guess we don't really know what happened in the, I think in the animated one, like Azula isn't the one that conquered Omashu, but I could see like, having her do it is more impactful, especially because it really seems like Azula is going to be the main antagonist throughout season 2. Like that's how they set it up that way, for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely setting that up, especially with that ending.
Yeah, I could see the like at least half of the episodes probably being that kind of pursuit that we get in the animated series. Like if they do another, well, this is 8 episodes, right? Yeah, it's 8.
Yeah.
If they do another 8 episode season, I would not be surprised to see 4 or even maybe 6 episodes, like where they're something happens and maybe Azula is only there in the beginning or the end, but they're having that chase across into and then ending in Ba Sing Se.
I just know that if they do the swamp guys, they need to cast people from Florida.
The swamp guy. Oh yeah, that would be funny.
I volunteer as tribute.
Mm-hmm, that would be really funny. Either that or like from the bayou, like just straight like some Cajun, completely intelligible speaking, like patois or whatever. Like that would be really funny.
Just something completely out of yeah.
They just got to be crazy swamp people is essentially what it needs to be.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
They'll look alien in the world, but I don't care.
Yeah. The scene where the banners fall over Omashu was also really well shot.
Yeah, the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
I love that. We all knew it was Azula, but still that moment of the look on her face when she removes the actual mask is so, I am your queen and I'm here to make you bow to me is just so badass.
Yeah.
And I mean, you hate her, but at the same time, you're like, man, she is a badass.
I mean, she is. I knowing what I know about Azula, I can't help but see the broken child behind everything that she's doing, and obviously trying to compensate for what's happening there. So I can't help but always see that in those scenes. Though like she is obviously like in the animated series, she fights off Katara, Zuko, Iroh, and Aang all at the same time. Oh, and Sokka, obviously. Sokka.
Yeah.
Oh no, Toph too is there too. She fights all of them off at the same time.
She is a 10 reverse BLT. I'll give you that, except for the psychopathy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. They and the actor that they have playing her is perfect. I have nothing up with the casting except for the questionable things with the actor that's playing Sokka, but other than that, I have no issues with the casting at all. I think they casted it well.
I don't. I really love Iroh and Iroh's actor.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Paul Sun-Hyung Lee is fantastic. My only gripe about the portrayals in this show is the lack of any type of accent other than like American English. But I still really enjoy everyone's portrayals of their individual characters.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The accent thing doesn't really bother me too much. I think it would be better to go with the way they went than have bad versions of accents, which absolutely. I think we could have got. And I'm always like, I'd rather go no accent than bad accent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I was going with that guy I was talking about earlier. It just came off as a bad accent to me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Get his picture. Him.
It
just came off as a really bad accent to me.
His like natural speech is more. He has more of like a Latino accent, like a Southern, a South American Spanish accent.
It kind of came off like he was trying to do like a sensei accent, and it just
Like he does have he has a wispy voice too, like that wispy. That's his natural voice.
Okay,
he always sounds like that. Like he sounded like that since he started acting. I feel like.
Okay, I haven't really heard him before, but it just sounded like he was trying to mimic like from Karate Kid or something. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Kind of kung fu. He sounds like old kung fu master. That's what he sounds like.
Okay, so it's not just him trying to do a bad accent.
Okay, Noman Garden,
Yeah.
you've been hanging out with Glenn way too long.
That's his voice. There is no thing as no accent. The I didn't say no accent. I said nothing other than just like kind of American English. Yeah,
I did.
Okay,
that's why I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have just as like a generic kind of American English accent to all of them. Like my only gripe about that is they're from all different locations all over the world. They should sound different a little bit, like, and different educations. Like, you know, it's what it kind of takes it, for me at least, it takes me out of it when you see people that are growing up as warriors and like never really kind of having kind of intellectual things, still using similar vocabulary and similar and having similar accents to people that are, you know, royalty and things like that. There's a reason why accents and languages differ in places. Even in localized cities, you'll have two separate accents, you know, evolve in places like that. But for me, it just pulls me out a little bit. But yeah,
I'd say overall I enjoyed this season. I'm looking forward to season 2. Like I said, depending on how they deal with some of the characters in season 2 is going to be very telling for me.
Yeah. I just hope they don't kind of, I hope they don't kind of like rush it now that it's like, because it did get a lot of bad reception and like, you know, the original show creators walked off it. You know, I hope they don't just kind of like, all right, let's get it over with and rush through it. I hope they at least try still to make, and it would be purely on Netflix's shoulders that that something like that happens, because they're so notorious on not, when a show isn't like an instant hit, they're notorious for not treating it well. So I'm surprised it didn't get canceled with the way with the reception that it got, because like there are shows that got way better reception than this one did and have been canceled. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to put a bad taste in people.
So the shows that probably had worse reception that still got seasons 2 and 3.
Not on Netflix.
True.
Like Netflix is just notorious for canceling shows if they're not immediate hits.
Yeah.
I mean, they're also notorious for canceling shows that are hits too. So
yeah, I hate. I'm so glad that
I think they have a dartboard and they just like cancel whatever it hits.
Yeah, it's a dartboard, except instead of numbers, all of the different colors on it are just yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and it's like, are we going to cancel this? Yeah,
it's completely random.
Yeah, one of the good things that came out of the actor strike is not the voice actor strike that's going on now, which I hope they get everything they're asking for, but
right.
The way they calculate kind of ratings for streamed shows is going to be relooked at and changed. That's one of the things they kind of talked about in the actor strike, because the way they did it up until then strictly was gamified in a way so that it's up to the studios whether or not they want to say a show is doing good. You know, they completely measured it off of how many new subscriptions they got from when the show was released to when the show ended. They don't take into account people that already had subscriptions and are watching. They don't look at the streamed time, like the timed streamed, and the individual watchers aren't considered in the way that they used to do ratings for streamed shows like that. So I'm glad that they'll change that, and maybe the analytics showed that that a lot of people watched it, and rewatched it. I know I've rewatched it enough for like 5 people. So
yeah, I have too, and I thought we were at a point where watchability was an issue, where like the more times you watched it, the better it was for that series. So
yeah. It just grew on me more, because I was so married to the way they did the animated series and the feeling that I had myself while watching it, that the older characters just don't do. It doesn't pull off. The other thing that I was just thinking about too, that just popped in my head when I said that, was Aang's character throughout these 2 episodes, I think, was more closer to how like a animated series Aang would have behaved as well.
Yeah.
Because like Aang never really had time to settle down and be his kind of like goofy self in this kind of like, this was like a 4-episode arc in the animated series or something like that. So in these situations in the animated series either, so we got to see him really kind of embody that character a little bit better. So I'm interested to see how it works out later. And I was also thinking, like, I hope this kid isn't like well, not that I hope he isn't, but like it would be kind of funny if, like, you know, somewhere in this kid's genealogy is like, you know, a 6 foot, you know, tall person, and all of a sudden, like, you know, in between this year and next year, you know, because he was 12, the kid, so 12 to 13 could be, you know, a 4-inch growth spurt.
That's gonna be funny. You know, we come back and Aang's like got 5 o'clock shadow, and he's like, "How you doing? I'm the Avatar."
They didn't jump right into filming. Like, they're probably going to film season 2 and 3 at the same time. Like, that's probably what they're going to do. Especially with
that's one thing I was going to mention. They're going to want to film pretty close together and get that done, just because of the ages they're dealing with.
Oh yeah. But my only concern is they haven't started filming yet. That's my only thing. They haven't started filming yet. It'll be fun. Yeah, it's going to be really funny when they do the hair. Norman Garden, like Norman Garden said, I have hair. Like, that was a great scene. I love that scene. So it's going to be funny when they do that. The actor looks exactly like Aang did with hair too, because they, you know, he did shave his head for the role. So when he grew his hair back out, he has like that short kind of hair that Aang had, and it looks really funny. Looks just like him.
I'm looking forward to Zuko with hair. I mean, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh God, I really hope they don't do like angsty emo hair flip Zuko.
Oh, I would love that.
I think like Netflix got lucky with like Stranger Things that their cast didn't really like have huge growth spurts.
Yeah.
But
they also aren't going to take 10 years to freaking film the show. So,
well, they practically did with Stranger Things.
No, I mean Avatar.
Yeah,
they're not
I know.
They're not going to take 10 years like they did with Stranger Things.
The other part is, like, even with however the show does or not, like, they now have Avatar: Last Airbender on Netflix, the cartoon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like,
however, you know, for
however good or bad this does, they're still getting streams for that show.
Exactly. I'm glad that it's out there and that it's viewable, because it's not in a lot of places. Like, prior to it coming to Netflix, you couldn't really watch it in a lot of places. Like, it wasn't out there. So I'm glad that that it's even just available for people to watch.
It's kind of like if you heard the theory behind the new Borderlands movie.
That just Borderlands property gets people going back to the game.
Yeah. Like, they tanked it so bad just so you play the game.
Yeah. Oh God, that movie is just,
it's sitting at 0% Rotten Tomatoes, I guess, right now.
Yeah, it's one of the worst rated movies of all time. Forget about Rotten Tomatoes, just everyone. I haven't heard a single person say anything positive, like, in whole, about that movie. It's just like,
I kind of want to watch it just to see if it's worse than Rubber.
Rubber. Oh God.
I don't think it. I mean, The Room being the one exception, because that is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Rubber's up there.
The thing that I've heard most about it, because I haven't seen it yet, but the thing that I've heard most about it is that, like, Kate Blanchett just is like, she seems bored through the whole thing, and like, which is kind of crazy because she's such a great actor, and she's like, she's just not great. But yeah,
because like I've never beat Borderlands, and so I wonder if it'll make me want to actually go back and play it through. So
I've never played it, so
yeah, it's a good game. It's one of those looter shooter type games. The other positive thing of them doing more Avatar content is also more of a chance to get other types of Avatar content. So it seems like with the fact that they have the cartoon on Netflix, and like still, and this show, that they probably have the rights for that series. So like books 1, 2, 3 of Avatar: The Last Airbender from the original Nickelodeon show. So I would assume we'll probably see this on there, but that also opens up the fact, you know, maybe if they have rights for that stuff, maybe we could see a video game, you know, set in that world at that time, or, you know, something so forth. Even just, you know, more content, pictures, action figures, whatever. Avatar's a great thing, and I'd like to see it out there more amongst like the younger generations, especially, only because it's such a powerful show. It teaches so many great lessons that I want every child in the country to watch. I want every child in the world to watch that show.
Yeah, I ever have grandkids, they're definitely going to be watching my DVD
Avatar
copies.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's time to watch Avatar with Grandpa.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, time for Papa to see his Momo.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us for this entire season. I mean,
absolutely,
it's been fun. I like having somebody on
every episode, but
well, life, you know.
Yeah. But I had a lot of fun, and I love Avatar, so it's, you know, it's not like you're twisting my arm.
And hopefully you'll join us when season 2 comes out. We can do this all over again.
For sure.
Yeah.
I want to show off a fun thing that my wife got me that I didn't know existed. She got me a graphic novel that came out not that long ago. It's called so yeah, I don't know if you can see who's on there, but it's called The Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. It's June and Uncle Iroh.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm excited. I haven't read it yet. I'm excited though. Yeah.
She's a 10, but her pet will eat me. So
that's true.
And again, I want to remind everybody that usually on Mondays, Dragonmount is doing a rewatch right now of Fallout.
Hence my my Fallout power armor helmet hanging out back there with Appa. Tomorrow we're gonna have, I think, Wine Spring is gonna be there. We'll be watching episode.
Oh, nice.
Episode 4 of Fallout. And then I'm going to be going to MalkirCon. So Krista will be by herself the following week. So I'll make sure everyone goes over there and gives her some love and helps carry things through. I mean, she's great. She's fantastic. But it's, you know, she still is new at these, and she's a little nervous. Even no matter how many times I tell her she does great and she'll be fine. But, you know, go and help her put those, you know, inside your head whispers to rest by supporting her over there during, you know, when I can't be there to back her up too.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be taking a week off on Labor Day, because Labor Day happens to be September 2nd on that Monday. So but we will be releasing a video that day. So you know how we do our Inside the Dragonmount studio questions kind of at the end of everything, where we interview our guests. I got to do that with Guy Roberts, who plays Uno on the Wheel of Time. So
excellent.
We're going to release that interview on September 2nd so everyone could watch it and have fun with that. And then what we plan on doing is releasing kind of like a series of all of the like edited versions of all of the people who have done that, and as kind of its own little shorts on YouTube and Instagram and stuff. So watch for that too.
I love that little nod to Inside the Actor Studio. I love that.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows easily.
Yeah. Just a reminder, as I said last week, September, around mid-September, we're going to start D&D. An actual live play with Max DMing.
It's exciting.
The Grand Max.
Yep.
So absolutely. And actually on the September 10th, we'll be doing our 3rd year anniversary with a rewatch of the extended edition of The Return of the King.
Ooh, that's fun.
Or Return of the King. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There is only the extended editions. I never watched the non-extended editions.
Yeah, I don't think I own the regular editions.
I have like 3 copies of them because I'm terrible.
That's me with audiobooks. Don't feel bad. Oh, yep. There we go. Thank you for the reminder, Glenn.
Yay.
So, yeah, thanks for joining us. And, we'll see you next time. And don't forget to be awesome.